It's Thursday, July the 6th, and this is your Premier Pass. Thank you for tuning in today. Please like, share, and subscribe to continue receiving mortgage rate updates, pro mortgage tips, and Middle Tennessee real estate news that affects you. Okay, let's talk about interest rates. At the last meeting the Fed just had in June, they discussed whether or not to take a pause. In fact, they did decide to take a pause. But you have to understand there's still a bigger picture at play. The Federal Reserve members get together, they decide kind of what they want to do, where they want to set the policy as far as money and overnight lending rates are concerned. When they started raising the rates, they kind of looked at like a 5.5, 5.6 type of range, what they called a terminal rate, meaning that was the rate they felt like they needed to get to be able to bring inflation down. Well, they've raised them 10 straight times, then they took a pause as we reported, and now we're at about 5.25. What that does is that leaves the door open to a couple of more rate increases from what they started out as their initial terminal rate. But then they also, after evaluating, feel mostly like there will be some rate increases still needed throughout the rest of the year. So they've got a meeting coming up at the end of July. We'll be watching. Most analysts are feeling right now like a 25 basis point increase will still happen at that meeting. I personally feel like they are going to try to get to that 5.5 or 5.6 terminal rate that they had in mind in the beginning. And I don't know that the data is going to change their minds between now and July as far as the 25 basis point hike increase goes. But just pay attention. We'll watch and see and report, keep you up to speed on all the latest interest rate news. Okay, let's talk about a pro tip for today. Pro tip for today is about not leaving any money on the table. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're in a situation where you've negotiated to purchase a new property and you've received a concession from the seller as part of your negotiation, or if your agent has negotiated some seller concessions for you, then you have to be careful, work with your loan officer very closely to make sure that you don't leave any of that money on the table and or you don't leave that money going back to the seller instead of being used towards the benefit of you as the buyer. So let's say, for example, you have a seller who agrees to $5,000 in seller concessions, and then you as the buyer are going to bring your down payment, your closing costs, all those sorts of things. You've got your amount of money that you're bringing to closing. Well, if it turns out that we use all of that $5,000 to pay costs, but there's still $2,000 remaining that was unused, if we don't use that money towards a rate buy down or some other benefit towards you as the buyer, then it reverts back and goes to that seller. So it's money that you would be leaving on the table if you don't work closely with your loan officer to make sure that you take full advantage of what your realtor negotiated for you. And that is today's pro tip. Remember, all situations are unique and underwriting conditions apply. Okay, let's talk about the real estate news. Real estate news is almost always driven by the absorption rate. It talks directly to what supply and demand is for properties in our area. We've gotten down to about 1.64 months of inventory, which is the lowest that I've seen recently. Over the last couple of weeks, we've stretched back out to about 2 months of inventory, which is still a seller's sort of market, meaning inventory is limited. Median price per square foot went down a little bit from about $215 to about $211. So there's still very few properties out there available. So you want to make sure you get with your loan officer, get approved, remove all contingencies that you can when you start to make an offer, because the market is still tight. There are opportunities out there and there are fewer transactions overall, but the number of available properties has stayed small, which keeps our inventory tight. So best thing to do is contact someone with the Shannon Wheeler Mortgage team today, get approved so that you're ready to write a strong contract. And if you're looking to purchase a new home, or if you're looking to start building wealth through owning real estate, then contact the Shannon Wheeler Mortgage team today. We can make you a plan for success. We're going to look at every option and we're not going to stop until we get you the very best outcome for your situation. So wait no more. Time is right now. You can find us online at shannonwheeler.com or on Facebook. And we will see you right back here on Tuesday.